Gun violence is the leading cause of death for children in our country. As a society, we are failing our children and we are failing each other. This out-of-control gun violence is a uniquely American tragedy. As you can see in this chart, in 2019, the United States suffered. Some of my colleagues across the aisle have blamed the violence on mental illness. They have blamed violent video games. They have blamed family values. They have even blamed open doors. They have blamed everything but guns. But we know the United States does not have a monopoly on mental illness, video games, or any other excuse. Widespread access to guns. That includes assault. What America does have is widespread access to guns. That includes assault weapons, which were designed to kill as many enemy soldiers on the battlefield as possible, as quickly as possible. Yet in many states, these weapons of war can be purchased by an 18-year-old just by walking into a store. Assault rifles from our streets, from our communities, from our homes. These weapons have no place in our communities. No civilian needs an assault rifle, and the Second Amendment does not protect the right to own a weapon of war. It's time that we banned assault rifles from our streets, from our communities, from our homes. But if we are going to truly address the gun crisis, we need to be honest about why our country has failed to act sooner. The truth is, the gun industry is making billions of dollars selling the weapons that are killing our children.
At the same time, we recognize that violence occurs in many of our communities on a daily basis. We have recently witnessed several high-profile, senseless acts of murder and mayhem that have impacted all Americans, including, tragically, our defenseless and innocent school children. We must respond to those heinous acts and provide justice for the families. At the same time, we recognize that violence occurs in many of our communities on a daily basis, impacting Americans across the United States from every background. Too often, tragedies are politicized for partisan gain, and we have seen many seek to leverage these crimes and their victims to push for radical left-wing policies or to buttress their campaigns to get elected. We all want to live in a country where we can achieve our American dream. Instead of rushing to score political points at the expense of our justice system working properly, we must learn from these senseless acts of violence and take concrete action to reduce violence in the future. We owe it to the families of the victims. They deserve justice, and we owe it to the American people. We must and can prevent similar tragedies. I also believe we must continue to empower our law enforcement professionals to serve and protect our communities honorably. I strongly believe that there is an important place for law-abiding gun owners to serve in protecting themselves, their families, and their communities from violence. Our Second Amendment is an important tool in securing our individual rights to self-defense. Knee-jerk reactions to impose gun control policies that seek to curtail our constitutional right to bear arms are not the answer. We must recommit ourselves to pursuing justice and keeping violent criminals off our street. Gun ownership is on the rise in America. People want to protect themselves and their families. We should commend all law-abiding gun owners who safely use, store, and carry those firearms, not vilify them for blatantly political purposes. Maloney, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. I want to clarify that I support the Second Amendment. I support law-abiding gun owners. I don't support lax gun laws that allow guns to get into the hands of criminals and unstable people. I now recognize the gentlelady from California, Ms. Porter, for an opening statement.